Okay. Hi. Okay. It's so funny. I literally opened this stream and I said, I'm flying by the seat of my pants today. If there's no better indicator of it than that, I'm going to have to start over here. Okay. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for allowing me to talk to myself for a little bit there. What I was saying was that this day I've been flying by the seat of my pants. I said I was getting the Retro Rebound video live, and I'm still getting used to the whole streaming schedule. I was like, oh shit, I gotta get the stream scheduled, right? Like I'm just thinking I'm gonna go live at like 3:30, 3:45. I'm like, oh, I gotta schedule it so people know I'm gonna be live. So I'm still getting used to that. And so I go ahead, gather our topics, get our thumbnail going. I make our thumbnail. I had a foot doctor appointment at 1:45, and I leave the house with the stream schedule. I'm like, okay, cool, we're good to go. Only to not change the thumbnail at all. So again, this won't matter to those of you watching the VOD. But yeah, I just like flying by the seat of my pants today. I'm exhausted, dude. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Happy Friday. Sorry, I'm not coming in with like the hype vibes, but I appreciate those of you who are here, who the deceptive thumbnail did not put you off. You were like, I'm just here to hang with Matty, even if it said he was streaming the State of Play again. So thanks for being here. Let's see, who do we got in the chat right now? What's going on? Christopher J. Hello, Presto. Hello, Quinn. Yeah, you guys missed all I was spitting there, Quinn. What's going on, James? Yeah, Mega Matty today. Yes, sir. Got this from Uniqlo. They make great video game tie-in shirts. That sort of stuff is very nice here. What's going on, Tyler? Good to see you as well. I'm expecting a really slow stream today. It's kind of like after the State of Play, slow news day. I screwed up the labeling of this all. If like more than like 400 of you show up, I'll be shocked. But I'm just happy to be here. We got some fun news today to talk about. We're going to discuss Witcher 3 DLC rumors. A little update on that front. Wanted to get in on that. We also have Highguard. That's going to easily be our biggest topic today. Just continues to make headlines, even though it's kind of, to me, like this game, I'm just like, whatever. But like now it's become a reflection point. An inflection point is what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for. It's become an inflection point. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Marathon as well. I've been getting a lot of questions about Marathon. So, hey, we got some fun stuff to talk about today. Bolts fan, thank you. I'm glad you think I got some great gaming merch. Yeah, I love going to like thrift stores and seeing what gaming merch I can find. That's usually what I'm on the hunt for when I'm out there. And that's where you guys may have seen a few streams ago, I was wearing the Spider-Man dry fit. And I was like, hell yeah, gotta throw that bad boy on. All right, let's see what we got here. Bachanga, thank you for your $10 super chat. Thanks, guys, for supporting the streams here. Hear me out. Retro Dukes, episodes that are regaling old games you loved, Brad, etc. included. It's a good idea. I like that. We actually, when we were thinking about shutting down Defining Duke or retooling it or whatever, we talked about a retro show, but you know, as someone who runs Retro Rebound, like I know where there's times I just do these random deep cut retrospectives and they do really well. I also know that there are times that no one's looking them up because modern gaming, despite what anyone says, is buzzing and people don't care about what happened 20 years ago. So it's really hard to, you know, especially when Knockback was a thing, it's really hard to run like a retro show and keep it consistently interesting. So it was an option we discussed, but that never happened. But if we ran Defining Duke Ultimate, this would be a great idea to kind of swap it out for that. But I love this nonetheless, Pachanga. Thank you for your super chat. I love how many of you super chat about Retro Rebound here. I mean, I love that you guys are invested in the game plan because I feel like we share a brain now, you know? I really feel like we're all sharing this mind of like how I operate on Retro Rebound. It's kind of funny. Assassin, thank you for your super chat, though. Good to see you again here, dude. I'm actually, by the way, before I answer this, because Assassin, I recognize your name, and there's some names I'm starting to recognize in chat. I really appreciate everyone being here, by the way, because I know, I mean, I was reading the comments yesterday, and then I was in like the LSM server. I saw people talking about it there, and I saw it on our own servers, and I felt really bad about like the stream stuff, like the chat yesterday, and how bad it got. It really kind of like chewed me up. It made it a little bit hard to go live today. It was the first time I've gone to live stream, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Like I've come in sort of the head of steam, but I do apologize that was not a clean stream. It can't be perfect when your channel grows so much and you have like 5,000, 4,000, I think it was, people. Like, that's really hard to contain no matter what. It kind of happens, but I know it was pretty overbearing yesterday. Hello, Mr. Rufus. And so I do, he was making sure I was good. And so I do appreciate those of you who show up, like Assassin and others, regularly. And, I'm going to try to make an effort to mod more people. I think because we had less mods, that kind of, like, it was one of the hesitations I had when I started up streaming, was like, okay, I've grown a lot since my last stream. There's going to be a lot of people who think they're comfortable just saying and doing whatever and being assholes. And I know we're going to have to filter a ton of people over time. And so I appreciate those of you who are patient with it and are hanging with it and rocking with me. So Assassin, just seeing your name remind me of that. Of like, I want to start modding some regulars, getting them set up so that Josh is always here. And he's always holding down the strings, but he's one man. So I need to give him some reinforcements. Sometimes Satchel's here, sometimes 2R's here. We have others here. But I appreciate those of you who are hanging. So yeah, Assassin, I'm gonna make you a mod, Assassin, is what I'm saying. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here, dude. Anyway, let's get to your super chat. I just wanted to make sure I addressed that, because to me it wasn't like a heads down moment. I was like, all right, I kind of want to tackle this. Assassin AK says, since GTA 6 is coming out this year, could we expect any videos on the older GTA games on Retro Rebound leading up to it? I'd love to see you dive deep into 3, Vice City, San Andreas, and even 4. Yes, all of those are on the docket. I think 3 is probably the outlier for me. Vice City, San Andreas, and 4 are definitely, like, I have to play those. I don't think revisiting 5 would be interesting. 5 just feels so relevant even to this day, and so I think that would not be on my list to Retro Rebound, but those 3 for sure, because I've never beat GTA 4, and I know we talked about that a lot yesterday. Crazy Wolfgang, my pleasure, Assassin. I mean, you're here all the time, dude, so I mean, I just appreciate you coming and hanging. No pressure to anyone who does end up getting modded, just because I want to have enough mods where just people can show up when they want, and it's sort of this, like, we're always armed to the teeth, but it's going to take some time to get there. So again, appreciate everyone understanding. GTA 4 might get a remaster. Yeah, Empires. I remember that was in the rumor mill for a while. Yo, Mr. Matty needs to play Witcher 3. Just got out of the dentist, had the earbuds in, listening to you and Cog on DD. Wanted to say happy weekend, my man. Thank you, Wolfgang. Very nice of you to be joining me in more places than one. Hope you are enjoying Defining Duke. Hope the dentist appointment was good. I actually just set one up myself. Like I said, I went to the foot doctor, and I was like, basically I made a list of like doctor's appointments that I need to make. And so I went ahead, like, grabbed everyone's numbers. I've set up all the appointments. Dentist was on the list. I was like, it's time for like a regular cleaning and that sort of stuff. All right. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out. I believe it or not, I actually prepared in advance for this stream in a more meaningful way, where I actually have the tabs up on a window for our first story, at least, so we can dive in a little bit slicker, But I wanted to hang out for a little bit first. Mr. Buckaroo, absolutely I have interest in the BioShock 4 rumors. I think that's like one of those things where that's like a perfect Matty slop topic, because until it's real, I've noticed that people don't really tap into those videos, but I love to talk about that stuff. And so that would be like a perfect Matty slop video. But yeah, BioShock 4 rumors, 100% I'm interested. Like, no Ken Levine is what makes it both interesting and terrifying. I don't think it'll be as good already off the rip. Like, it's not going to be as good as any other BioShock game he's been involved in, but it could still be great. Like, BioShock 2 did not have Levine's involvement, and people love to. People love Minerva's Den. So, I mean, I think 4 still has the chance to be great, so I want to track it. But am I way more excited for Judas? 1,000%. Absolutely. You can't replace that brain. Also, yeah, just to write the record here on the super chat, I have played The Witcher 3. I see Jaded in the chat saying, I haven't played The Witcher 3. I have played The Witcher 3. I have beat The Witcher 3. I like The Witcher 3 a lot. I'm reading all the Witcher books now, as I've talked about. But up next for me is The Witcher 3 DLC. But I'm going to do a full Witcher 3 replay anyway. Cool Tainer, no juice. Unfortunately, no juice. This week has been... Oh my God, dude. It's just one of those weeks where just like there was a lot going on. Like Monday I was on Summon Sign. And so anytime I sign up for any podcast outside of Defining Duke, I basically delete an entire like chunk of my day. Like usually for Summon Sign, it's like 1 to 5 gets deleted, but we had to do Summon Sign even later in the day because they had to cover for Colin for Sacred Streaming, which did bump into my schedule a lot. And then Tuesdays are streams. Wednesday all day, I was driving to the airport and back, and then we recorded Defining Duke at like 8 at night, and I wasn't done with that until 11. Yesterday was video stream, like just a lot of stuff, and then here we are again today. So yeah, it's like you just blink, and it's like, whoa, like week's over. So, yeah, no juice, unfortunately, just seltzer. Did not have any time whatsoever to do some juicing. No strange orange concoction either. Splicer, good to see you, man. We're going to add you to the modding team as well. Love to support our regulars. All right, we got a couple of super chats here. Hold on, let's get this up on the screen. There we go. Do you think The Witcher 4 and Elder Scrolls 6 will come out in the same year and be compared to each other? I think knowing Bethesda's luck, 1,000%. Yes. No, in all seriousness, I think The Witcher 3 comes out, or 4 comes out sooner. I think The Witcher 4 is like next year. But I do think Witcher or Elder Scrolls 6, like at this rate, the way Bethesda's talking about it, I don't think we're seeing that shit for, like 28? You know, like I think they're going to sit on that for a while. Just, it's money that's guaranteed to be made. People are against them right now. They're short on resources. Just take your time and see what you can make of it. Let's see here. JT Harden says, yo, Matty, been a fan since 2012. We actually met at Fallout 76 QuakeCon. Missed those days. Keep the good work, and I'm loving the streams. I'm sorry I don't like. I remember meeting a few people at QuakeCon. I wish I remember like exactly who you were. But dude, awesome to see you. Thanks for hanging around for so long. Yeah, QuakeCon, that was a good time. I remember going there. 2018 is when that was. I went there with a couple of my buddies, and that was a really good time. It was like my first time there. And yeah, I went there because I wanted that exclusive 76 preview if I could get my hands on it. I didn't, but I got to see Texas, and that was a lot of fun. Good old Texas. Great queso. Bolts fan, thank you. Been around since Survivor 2299 days. Just want to say how awesome it's been to see you and your channel grow. All the best, and hope the Mets do well for your sake this year. Bro, I am going through such significant baseball withdrawals that, like, I'm watching baseball highlight clips. I'm like studying the farm system. I'm like sickeningly obsessed. I cannot wait for this season. The Mets could suck. I'm still watching like every fucking game, dude. So thank you for your super chat. Thank you for supporting these streams here, guys. Matt Sniper, thank you for your support. Is Neo 3 on your radar? First Neo game for me. Working through the demo has been a blast so far. It is. This is a later in the year game for me. Like I said, I'm very locked in on this. I just finished the Leon campaign last night. I basically one-tapped it. And so tonight is going to be I don't know. They're both so bad, but Ada or Jake's campaign, I don't know which I want to do. I'm probably going to do Ada's because I remember just like having so many issues with it. I just want to rip off that Band-Aid. I already have Chris's done. So I'm pushing through that, but I want to stay true to my goal. Like I wanted to do the Resident Evil Pilgrimage. The Shadow Drop of Sons of Sparta made that really difficult. So yeah, there's a lot of games that I want to hop on right away. But man, Neo 3, I'm sad I've skipped on that one, but I'm going to be happy to pick it up when it's probably on a smaller discount, and I have no doubt I'm going to love that game because I love Neo 1 and I love Neo 2. As you guys may have seen on Retro Rebound, Neo 2 is like a top 5 PS5 or PS4 exclusive for me. Really good game. You should get a bunch of mods and call them Maddie's Legion. It's a good idea. Let's see here. How long we've been live for? Almost 15 minutes. Okay, it seems like it's about time for us to start up some news here. The first story I wanted to go over with y'all today here was The Witcher 3, which had some DLC rumors. So we're gonna run through that. We're gonna kind of recap where it was at because this story with The Witcher 3 has been going on for a really long while, actually. And so we're gonna pull up this story from Eurogamer. We're gonna go over that, and then there's been some updates on what's actually happening, and also CD Projekt Red kind of adjusting their goals without really saying fully why that is the case. And so I think we can start to fill in the blanks a little bit here, and that'll be fun. Premixed Metal says or asks, did you watch the final overview video for Crimson Desert? I did. That'll be tomorrow's video. After this stream, I have a video that's kind of bullet pointed, slightly scripted out. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit, and then I'm going to record that, and that'll be out for Saturday. So you can look forward to seeing that one. But that is, bro, that game's a fucking life sim too. Are you kidding me? I'm starting to believe, man. I hope it's really good. I feel like it can be. KCD1 Next Gen upgrade was a nice surprise. Yeah, it got leaked for so long ago, I feel, and like it was just a matter of when, not if, but I love that they did that. Really cool. Yeah, because especially now beating and playing KCD2, you really see the vision of that series. And like, obviously the first game was important in the first place, but like seeing what the vision for the main story is, I thought the first game story was a little lacking, but if you play that and then just stream right into KCD2, some good shit, man. Some good shit. JHL, good to see you, man. Welcome. What's going on, Ankit Joker? Great to see you as well. Thanks for everyone showing up. Like I said, I completely bungled this stream. So y'all who are here are exclusive company, because I'll just tell you what, little insider baseball on YouTube. If you fuck up your thumbnail, your video, your stream, whatever the fuck it is dead. It's straight up kaput. That's just unfortunately how it is. Your titles do matter, no doubt about it. I would know this. My audience, many of you in the chat, have complained about my titles, and I try to be very aware of what I'm writing in my titles. I like overthink it to a disgusting degree. Your titles do matter. Your thumbnails matter more. So yeah, when I screwed up the thumbnail, I'm like, well, I killed today's stream. That's for damn sure. So anyone who's here, thank you. And welcome. And just, again, appreciate anyone on board here, because it's a very select crowd today. That's for sure. Thank you, DJ. I'm glad you're loving the stream. Yeah, let's get started with some news, guys. I want to go over this one with you because this is one that I personally am really excited about. I wanted kind of a yin and yang today. Like I had something very exciting I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to find that exciting thing because the more serious, definitely long-winded conversation we're going to have is going to be about Highguard. And I'm like, okay, like there's a lot of pain involved in this game, clearly, for its makers, and just there is a level of like, I've made multiple videos on Highguard, one before its launch, a stream really, and then my impressions. There is a level of like, I'm not trying to beat the dead horse here, but now it's come to a point where, okay, Highguard went from this sort of you'll go in time and we'll forget about you to like now an inflection point in gaming and how toxic positivity works. So yeah, you know, this is one of those things where I wanted to have a little balance. So anyway, I'm over explaining my mindset. Let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about The Witcher 3. Okay. Let me make sure Stream Deck is like a mile away from me. Hoo-wee. All right. I gotta drink some water. Big Capcom on sale on Steam. I'm trying to resist the pull. What game are you looking at, Parch? I don't know, man. I don't know if I can tempt you away from anything. Capcom's been firing on all cylinders. I just submitted review copy requests for Requiem and Monster Hunter Stories. I'm like, dude, they're just firing out good shit. And like Onimusha's on the way. Dragon's Dogma 2 was amazing. Resident Evil's been incredible. Like they've just been... I know Wild's underdelivered for a lot of people, but it's just been an incredible stretch for them. All right, there we go. I knew I didn't want to start doing our news story because I knew this is the mistake with doing seltzer on a stream and why I desperately need my juice is, bro, burping mid-recording, never a good thing. All right, let's talk a little Witcher 3, everyone. So for those who have not been tracking the news here, The Witcher 3 has had a rumor for a while that it would get a brand new expansion in 2026. This is significant because I wish more games did this. One random poll here. I'm going to really reach deep into the recesses of my memory and pull out a game you probably haven't thought about in a while. But one game that was really old but kept getting DLC was Two Worlds 2. That game got DLC into like the late 2010s, if I remember correctly. And somehow that was a thing. Like it was just constantly being supported. Like there was just a group of dedicated fans that just kept playing this game and buying its DLC. So Two Worlds 2 kept getting its DLC. And I remember talking about that with Carrick when we used to do the Ham Radio podcast together and saying how I wish more developers would go back to their old games and greenlight a DLC or a big expansion to sort of like set up the next big game or just to add more content to that amazing thing and just let it live on a little bit longer. Well, we're at the point in gaming now where like install bases are getting so big, gaming is so digital only, where we have these games just resting in our library, and all a developer needs to do is flip the on switch and you can get yourself a new expansion for one of the best RPGs of all time. Indeed, that's expected to be what's happening here with The Witcher 3. We see IGN was covering how there were expansion rumors that were swirling. This is something I covered on my YouTube channel already, but I wanted to dive into it a little bit more here just to recap a little bit of what exactly was going on here, and then dive into some of the new discoveries we have around this Witcher 3 DLC. Because, again, I'm like on top of this thing like white on rice, simply because your boy is reading every Witcher book in preparation for this DLC and in preparation for Witcher 4. Like, for me, if you know me for like my Bethesda stuff and my knowledge for it, what I'm trying to do is train myself for like CD Projekt Red. Like, I want to be all up on the Witcher 4, good or bad. I want to know everything Witcher. And so that's why I'm like all in on the books, all in on the replay for Witcher 2, Witcher 3, and I really want this expansion. And so it looks more and more like it's a real thing. It's going to be true. So let's just recap this real quickly, and then we'll get into some of the new discoveries here. So the report I wanted to focus on here was from Eurogamer, because they have a great compilation of like all the discoveries here. Their original story was talking about like, is there going to be a new expansion in 2026 for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt? Well, the rumor originally stemmed from someone called, and I'm going to skip around some of the naming here just to be honest with you all, I'm going to butcher the names if I try to do them in full. And that's not going to be pretty. So let's avoid that. I might just stick on a first name basis here. Bear with me. The rumor stemmed originally from someone called Boris, a trusted Polish source of games industry information and a leaker of sorts. He made a documentary a few years back about Polish indie game development called We Are All Right, which is a good watch, and it shows he has industry connections. He said in the summer of last year that Fool's Theory, the studio that's remaking Witcher 1 for CD Projekt Red, was making a new Witcher 3 expansion, and reiterated this ahead of the Game Awards in December, where he expected the announcement to be made according to PC Games N. But obviously, as we know, that never happened. So a lot of people went, well, is it not happening at all then? Oh no, this sounded like such a promising rumor. Well, again, going back to Eurogamer here, they say a separate voice added strength to it. Polish Noble security analyst Matus had wrote a report on the 16th of December after the Game Awards, which said we expect the next paid add-on DLC for The Witcher 3 to be released in May 2026. And they assumed that 11 million copies at $30 each next year would be sold. Remember this point right here. This is going to be really important to when we get to our final headline about what CD Projekt Red is doing as they're adjusting their profit margins pretty massively. So we're going to dive into that. Anyway, what we're seeing here is a little bit of smoke. And then there were some updates to this story here. Eurogamer exchanged emails with Boris on the Witcher 3 expansion rumors, and he told me that several independent sources verified this information. He didn't have further information to share beyond what his original podcast said, but he did direct him to the supporting information from an earnings call from CD Projekt Red, which said that, quote, given our current progress, there is a chance that new content hinted upon in recent calls and reports may see a release in the coming year, having an impact on our results and increasing the likelihood of achieving the earnings condition for the first stage of the incentive program. Again, really important key point there to remember. That's why I wanted to recap some of this here, because CD Projekt Red has talked about secret content, and now we have analysts saying 11 million copies sold. Insiders are talking, mainly Polish insiders. That'll also be key in some future information we have here. CD Projekt Red told them that they do not comment on rumor and speculation. So that's the general catch up on what's happening here with Witcher 3 DLC. So you've got some smoke here. CD Projekt Red is saying something is cooking. They're not really saying what to their investors. So where does that leave us? Well, let's keep corroborating the existence of this rumor here. Many of you are familiar with Nate the Hate and basically like Schreier level, take it to the bank kind of information. Like if you see Nate the Hate say something, I'm not saying everything you have to take at face value, just be like, okay, let's not pick at this anymore. But usually this guy's on the money. So when he says something like, he's asked, have you heard anything about the Witcher 3 new DLC? And he says, I have. I am working to confirm the details further. I feel like that just tells me, okay, something's going on here. Does this mean that he is confirming it's going to release this year? No, he's just saying he has heard something and he's working to get more information, and he'll maybe share that at a later time here. But to me, just knowing that Nate the Hate knows that this is something he's heard about does give it a lot more legitimacy. At the same time, to be fair and to be clear, there is a world where he's just talking, I have heard about this new DLC, as in I've heard about it through the grapevine of other insiders who have been talking online. It could just be him answering the question that way. So let's take this one step further here. If you go to Reddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors, my favorite subreddit. I love scrolling here. Every morning I do this during breakfast. I just love to see what's leaked. They say some new Witcher 3 DLC leaks. Nate the Hate claims he has heard things about the Witcher 3 DLC, and a former Polish journalist and former project lead on Witcher 1 have heard that a new DLC is happening here. Now, let's go ahead and look at this new source here. Again, Witcher 1 project lead That's some pretty serious business here, y'all. So we're going to get into that one. We're also going to get into this little translation here using YouTube's auto translate feature here. Let's go ahead and get this rocking and rolling. And you'll see here, no, hold on, auto translate, and then go down to English. There we go. So now we get to see with this timestamp link what exactly they were saying here. So let's go ahead and turn on the volume so that you can hear them talk, and then we'll listen/read.
Ale myślę, że tak, że skoro Borys przyniósł mu też takiego newsa, to jak najbardziej tak. No. Więc uważam, że w przyszłym roku będziemy grać w ten dodatek.
Też, ale nie strzelam daty.
Widziałeś, jaką mapkę wrzuciłem?
Widziałem. Ty tą mapkę dawno temu zrobiłeś.
No,
okay. So yeah, he says he thinks it's happening. He says if Boris says it's happening, then he thinks it's happening. And so given those connections there, right, a former project lead for The Witcher 1, there's some connections there. It's another Polish podcast. I mean, you're seeing all the connections here, right? People are picking it up. And what's so funny to me, right, what I really get a kick out of is, again, this is a month old, right? This is from December 17th. So people are still digging up old information on this from like the European circle here. Now, where I think things get a little bit more interesting with what's going on The Witcher 3 and its DLC is actually what GameSpot here had posted. They say, with Witcher 4, 5, and 6 coming, CD Projekt Red raises profit goals. Now, this is for the financial years of 2026 to 2029, so it can factor in the DLC. What we know about The Witcher 4 and its release date right now is that it's not coming this year, but that next year is a lot more probable. And I cannot wait here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this write-up here from GameSpot. They say here, Polish developer CD Projekt Red, which is celebrating Polish donuts today. But by the way, I learned about this today. Like, I think it's called, like, my friend said it's called, he's Polish. It's Fat Thursday is what it's called. I'm new to this. I grew up with a Ukrainian best friend, and I had no idea about this. This is all new to me. But nonetheless, I love that this was called out here. Is also increasing its profit goals for the near future. The company said today that it plans to increase its profit projections for the financial years 2026 to 2029 to 5 billion zloty, which is about 1.4. Dear God, that forced a burp out of me. Which is about 1.4 billion US dollars. CD Projekt said this proposed earnings condition is an ambitious target, but also one that aligns with the company's belief that it has the good games coming up that will return money to investors. Interesting. So, two things happening here. One, they are believing heavily here that they are going to accomplish their goal of The Witcher 4, 5, and 6 coming out very close to one another. Let me actually grab an extra link for you guys here. Forgot to put this one in the right up here. Yeah, hold on. Witcher trilogy, 6 years. Trying to find the exact. Here we go. So what I wait. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to show you guys as well. Is that CD Projekt Red wants to launch all 3 of the Witcher games in this new trilogy with Ciri in 6 years. This is basically unheard of. This is swinging for the fence. But I love it, right? Cook on that first entry in the new trilogy for a while and then just go hog wild. And I think this is becoming a thing with a lot of developers. Like, I wonder if, and this is a little bit of cope as a Kingdom Hearts fan, I wonder if Kingdom Hearts 4 is doing a similar thing where they're just parking it on that Kingdom Hearts 4 for a while so that they can do 5, 6 and finish up Sora's story a little bit quicker so that Kingdom Hearts fans don't have to starve for an eon. But nonetheless, that is partially factoring into what we're seeing here with these profit goals, right? Like, this is factoring in that CD Projekt Red wants to bring out 3 Witcher games in 6 years. So they're committing to that idea heavily here. But also, that's not starting until next year. So when they're bumping up their profit goals so soon, I'm like thinking to myself, okay, so they're expecting money to start coming in the door this year. And the only thing we saw from CD Projekt Red was that like weird Witcher spinoff game. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Witcher spinoff game. Something Reigns. Yeah, Reigns the Witcher. Let's see if I'll show you guys this one. Check this one out, man. Devolver Digital involved in this one. This is the new Witcher game. So, I mean, it doesn't look awful, but to me, I don't look at this and think to myself, okay, so CD Projekt Red is increasing their profit goals, and this is going to be the thing that moves the needle for them. You know, we love The Witcher. Like, Thronebreaker was an incredible Witcher spinoff that was built off of Gwent. Shout out to Dan Line. But I don't look at this and go, yeah, Reigns, The Witcher is about to cook. Again, doesn't look awful, but doesn't look like exactly what's going to move your profit goals. So again, that does bring me to the Witcher 3 DLC, which I personally think is partially why they're moving some of their targets a little bit up in advance for 2026. Let's read the rest of the quotes here. They say achieving PLN 5 billion in the cumulative tricky word there, net profit in the financial years 2026 to 2029 assumes further dynamic business growth through consistent implementation of CD Projekt Red's development strategy, the company said. To achieve these lofty goals, CD Projekt Red said it will release, quote, high-quality RPG games, end quote, and focus on strengthening the potential of brands by releasing companion products with external partners. So again, Fool's Theory is considered an external partner, the ones who are working on the Witcher 1 remake, so that can be a little bit tongue-in-cheek there. I say it's not immediately clear what these products will be, but CD Projekt Red has said that all of these efforts are being undertaken for the purpose of raising CD Projekt's value in the stock market. They say the company shares are up more than 5% this year and up over 20% over the last year. However, the company's market value is down 3% over the last 3 years and 6.5% down all time. So it's so funny because I view them in such like a high regard, but they're technically still crawling out of the cyberpunk hole here. So what you have here, again, is a new profit target that's being adjusted. You have some new leakers, particularly more verifiable ones like Nate the Hate, who are stepping out saying they've heard about the DLC here. And so more and more it's looking legit. As for release date / window predictions, Witcher 3 came out in May. I think that CD Projekt Red is going to do it on their own event, and they're going to release it that same month. I think there's even a world where they like shadow drop it straight up. Like I think they might be looking at what like Oblivion pulled off and thinking to themselves, we could do that too. And I think that would be awesome. So ultimately, Witcher 3 DLC is probably on the way. You should start preparing yourself for that because I think whenever CD Projekt Red drops this, your save file needs to be ready to go because they're going to toss us all into a brand new Witcher playthrough. For me, what I'm doing, again, is I'm reading all the books. Once all the books are done, I'm going to start up a new Witcher 3 playthrough. I'm going to run through all of that. And then from there, jump into the DLC for Blood and Wine, which I never played. And then from there, I'm going to dive into the new DLC. So that's the plan. But I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I'm feeling like CD Projekt Red's actually going to do it. And again, we have people like Nate the Hate kind of verifying that now, former project leads for Witcher 1. Like everyone's talking about it. It's a horribly kept secret. It's only a matter of when, not if. So really excited for this one. I wanted to make sure I put this on your radar, y'all. I like that way of thinking, Tyler. If it's Devolver, it will be budget good. You are correct. I do like that idea a lot. Tricky part for me of a sorry for smacking my lips. Tricky part for a Witcher 3 replay for me in April is I want to finally play Trails Beyond the Horizon, but I don't know when that's going to happen. If I'm playing a Witcher 3 replay in 2026, but I mean, fuck it, dude. Good problem to have. Anyway, what are we thinking about Witcher 3 DLC, guys? I'm curious where your heads are at. Like, are you looking forward to this shadow drop? This year's looking really good for games, especially after like the developer direct. State of Play, and I know people didn't like the partner direct, but like I had some fun with it. Looking at all three of them, like the year's kind of set right now where I feel like I know exactly what I'm going to be playing all year long. And so throwing Witcher 3 DLC in there, my God, I'm done with this seltzer, dude. I can't stop burping. Throwing Witcher 3 DLC in there is a lot of fun to me. So I'm curious what y'all are thinking about it. Neo, I did play as Geralt in Soul Calibur 6. That was one of the main reasons I bought that game. I didn't play it much, unfortunately. The Stick series. I've heard good things about it, bro. I've heard good things about the Stick series. Not against it. Not totally against it. I have not talked about Mugenics. No, that game does look interesting though. So many great looking indie games. Not even just trying to generalize it, just like if I started paying, I always paid attention to indies, but like I started to really make like more of an active effort to dive into indies this year, and it's overwhelming how many fucking amazing games there are there. "50 hours into your replay of Witcher 3 and only 30% complete." Yeah, it's like, that's a little terrifying. Oh my god, it's so much game. It's so much game. All right, I got all the Highguard stuff up for our next one. Oh, we got a super chat here. What do you think this means for Cyberpunk 2 now? Good question. Okay, so I'm one of the people who like has complete faith in CD Projekt Red, but I am a little bit skeptical about the engine swap. I just hope that Cyberpunk 2077 or 2, sorry, does not lose its feel. And by that I mean its gunplay. Like we talk about a lot of great things that CD Projekt Red did with Cyberpunk 2077. I don't think we talk enough about how strong the gunplay in that game really is. And like that sort of stuff, like that feel, that's like I don't know if that's a Red Engine thing or not. Like, can you accomplish that again in Unreal Engine? I love the immersive qualities of the first person mode. Like that's the benefit of having like the proprietary tech stack, is they can kind of customize their own tech stack to accomplish whatever they need it to. Whereas like Unreal Engine can have a lot of bloat if you don't make use of all of its resources, all of its features. So, I mean, that's like, for me, on just like a level of like how I'm feeling about it, it's where I'm not really sold on the vision, but they've teamed up so closely with Epic that I think they'll figure it out no matter what. So what this goal kind of means for Cyberpunk 2 and sort of where it's going to release, I mean, it's definitely further down the line. I think they're definitely more interested in getting Witcher 4 off the ground and starting that new trilogy where eventually they're alternating years. I mean, they have like a dedicated team in Boston who is ready to rock on Cyberpunk. And I think they're getting to that same point. I think it'll be a while before we see a new Cyberpunk game, but once it's there, like either Witcher will be in full swing or maybe even wrapping up, and then we'll get our hands on that new Cyberpunk game. But I mean, they're kind of, I mean, they're doing remakes too, so there's that. But I think they're doing the right thing because they're also adding in anime for Edge Runner, so they're doing more of that. So there's a lot just happening with both their IP that makes my head spin, or I'm like, how do you keep track of all this shit? So I think it means good things. I think they expect this to be out, within reason, close to when they're in full swing with the Witcher series of games. Did you see the Gothic 1 remake release date trailer? It dropped yesterday. I did. I think it looks really good. I unfortunately don't have like a connection with Gothic. So I just like that it looks like a nice AA RPG. That piques my curiosity. Just like Greedfall, the new Greedfall does. I think that looks really interesting too, because I like a nice, janky 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 RPG that does some really cool, unique things. And that's what that game looks like. But I've heard amazing things about Gothic. Here we go. As a huge Bully fan like yourself, the Bully Platinum was really fun and satisfying. I still have hope for Bully 2 one day. I've never got the Bully Platinum, but what I'll say is this. For Bully 2, I've kind of given up, bro. Assassin, I'm going to be real with you. I have given up. Rockstar is such a like prestigious company now that I can't imagine a world where they're like, let's go back and make basically a tame version of GTA. Like Bully works so well because it worked with the time period. I think a Bully game nowadays with today's audience and just how reactive everyone is. I'm not picking on one side or the other, just how reactive everybody is. I could see a world where it's like, I mean, Rockstar doesn't give a shit about that stuff. Like, no doubt GTA is going to cause its own set of noise, but like, I could just with some of the themes you could tackle with bullying. I feel like they would. I don't know who would want to do that, especially again if like you can incorporate a bully like game in GTA itself. I don't know. You know, like, because I think about this, like, what appealed to me with, because Bully was rated, do I have it here? I do. Was this rated T for teen? It was. Yeah, this is T for teen. And so it was like GTA for younger kids. I bet that was the sales pitch. You know, you didn't get guns, you got potato launchers. You didn't get rocket launchers, you got slingshots. You didn't beat someone's head in, you gave them a wedgie. So I'm less hopeful for a Bully 2. But there is that, what is it called? Like, school. Oh my God. Y'all have definitely seen this game. It was getting memed big time. But it's like the closest we'll ever get to Bully 2. Was it New Age Rock? What was it called? Game. I'm just gonna type in YouTube. Game that is like Bully. Agefield High Rock the School. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Good morning, everybody. This young man right here is our new student, Sam.
There's Hale Baines, the guy who thinks college is for chumps.
You're the new guy, huh? What's up?
Axel Philly, the wannabe rock star.
I got an F in English.
And you, Sam Tatum, the new kid.
So we can have the party, but my mom cannot find out. If she does, she'll go ballistic.
They made a plan to rock the last few months at school and leave their marks as legends.
They want to indoctrinate me even more into a boring fucking life and work 9 to 5 like some sort of mindless zombie.
See what I'm talking about?
Fuck thinking about college, dude. We need to stick to our plan to rock the school.
Anyway, you get the point. So this is the best we're gonna get. So yeah, I would love for a Bully 2, but I don't know, bro. I don't know. High hopes, but I just don't see it happening. Yeah, it's also, yeah, it's very AI-like. Yeah, I agree. Like, it looks, the art style, not everything has to be beautified. It's definitely made by a smaller team, but, like, they've shown gameplay clips. Like, I've been keeping my eye on the game because, again, as a huge Bully fan, like, it's definitely, like, I hope this is great. You know, that's how I'm looking at it. I hope this is great. And I think there's going to be a lot of, you know, if the game delivers in that, like, 6 or 7 out of 10 area, I think there's going to be a lot of people who go, like, well, I've been looking for this type of thing for a while, and this delivered on that. But I you know, they showed, like, gameplay of them walking around their town, and, like, they had the same NPC appear, like, 4 times in a row in 2 seconds. Like, it was just really, looks rough, you know? It looks about as rough as it does in that trailer. Schlubricant, you walked into Agefield, what, I don't even fucking remember this game's name. It's a Bully clone, basically. Matthew, thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. But yeah, you know, Bully 2 or anything like that, man. I wish, but I don't think it's happening. Am I expecting any surprises from Bethesda Game Studios other than Starfield DLC this year? Hawk, I'll tell you this. I think I could see a world. I'm not like super, what's it called? I'm like super convinced about it. I was convinced about it last year, but given the way they're talking about it now, I'm less convinced. But I can see a world like any year, really, that they just decide to rip off the Band-Aid and just do a new Elder Scrolls trailer, just to refresh, to be like, hey guys, this is the next thing we're working on, and like here's where it's set, that sort of stuff. Like a kind of what they did with Starfield, like a story trailer, a universe trailer, like a, hey, pick at this. Like, we're going to give you some stuff to talk about, and it's going to build up over time. Like, I could see a world where Elder Scrolls 6 is something we see soon-ish, is in the terms of a trailer. In the terms of like an actual release, though, we're going to be waiting a long time, my friend. We're going to be waiting a long time. Jay, I think the John Wick game looks interesting. You know, it looks solid. Not like the most hype thing, but I like that it exists. It's cool. I'm a little more worried that Saber's taking on so many licensed projects. Like, they're the stewards of a John Wick game, an Avatar game, which fans have wanted a great Avatar AAA game for a while. Of course, they have my KOTOR remake, and I'm like, dude, that was like your only thing for so long. Now you've absorbed all of these things. So I'm a little worried about that. Could an Elder Scrolls TV series work? Yeah, I think it could work. I think they can make some sort of like Game of Thrones or Rings of Power style show where it's a little more politically driven. And by politically, I mean like in the world. But I could see them doing something like that. But it seems as if Todd's focused his energy on Fallout getting the TV show. Maybe Elder Scrolls afterwards. Yeah, sorry. Saber also has Turok. There you go. What do we got here? Buchan? You let me know whichever. Did you hear? Thank you for your super chat, by the way. Did you hear about PS5 being for rent in the UK with no option to buy? Could this be the way consoles will be priced out? Especially considering consoles will be 1K plus next generation. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday, how Amazon is trying to like get people to, or talking about how people will eventually rent their computers. I just don't believe in this sort of thing ever really winning over a massive amount of people. Like, I feel like when you look at a sizable purchase for a gaming console, right? And you're usually doing it like it's always been because you see one game, you go, whoa, that looks incredible. I want to play that, but I don't have the system. And then when you look at the price of that system, you go, okay, well, I need to make sure there are other games like this that are interesting that I want to pick up for it. I don't know if gaming consoles will ever get to that point where it's like, okay, I'm going to rent the PS5 for the month it takes to beat this game, and then I'm going to return it. Where I see things more so going, if you're talking about circumventing console pricing, is a little bit of what Xbox is doing, the application approach, like cloud gaming being built into LG TVs. I'm sure PS Plus will do a similar thing. And I say that because like right here is my PS Portal, and they're already doing something pretty similar. You fire this thing up, and there's the ability to stream directly from your console. So basically remote play. This is what this originally started out as. It was a remote play device. And then they also added an update just at the end of last year, which you press R1 when you load into this thing, and it brings you to the PlayStation Network, which is signed into your account. And then you can go through your library, or because I'm subscribed to PS Plus, anything on PS Plus, select whatever game, and it boots up here, and you just play from the cloud. And it's really easy pick up and play. I love it. And so I do think like that is where they're going to go to get people who are maybe just looking at one game is just stream the game, dude. I think internet's going to get to that point. And you know, because I remember like trying Xbox cloud gaming when that first came around. I tried it on my iPad and on my phone. I made a whole video about it. And it was kind of mixed. And that was like 2021. I was like, it's all right. And I tried it at my office at the time. So I had like Fios internet. But again, I was like, it's okay. To see how far we've come where I just like natively stream shit all the time. I don't even think about it. Started off on Xbox, but I do it on PlayStation a ton now. I think that's how they get around it. I don't see a world where we're like renting PCs, renting consoles. I don't see a world where that stuff like phases out because I don't think people want to just stream everything, you know, just like how TV and movies are. Like people want to still go to the theaters, old fashioned way. People still want to download their shit, old fashioned way. People still want to own their content, old fashioned way. I don't think that goes away. I also think that eventually like the renting and stuff will cost more money. And I mean, that's always been the case. Like if you just keep renting and keep renting and keep renting, it's like a house, right? Like you're just going to end up spending more. You may as well have just bought it, right? But good question, dude. I appreciate you writing in about this. I'm sure they'll try, Biyu-chan. I'm sure they'll try. Because again, with like cloud streaming tech, obviously AI, these are things that are like big attractions for investment, right? And so this is how these companies are getting people to spend on them. And so they're going to try to do everything to use that investor money to gain, you know, a dominant foothold on that angle of the business. And maybe there's someone who pitches in a boardroom and thinks it's a great idea. Hey, imagine a world where you don't need to have all this, you know, you look at my office here, you don't need any of this hardware here. You just need a screen and a controller. That's literally, who am I talking about right now? Everything is an Xbox. So there's people who have convinced themselves that will be the future. But we're seeing with how support for their business has declined that people are not ready for that future, or it is not the only way forward. So I'm sure there will be more who try. But, you know, I think that people will speak. That's always been my belief with things like, again, Amazon saying like, oh, yeah, you know, rent your computers. I'm like, who the fuck wants to rent or work computer? The only place I see that working for is like an actual business maybe, but even a business, it's like you don't want to pay month over month. Like if you're a game development company, do you want to rent a bunch of work computers or do you want to own it? Because you're going to be paying, you're going to be on the hook for that fee forever. You know, I don't know anyone who temporarily wants a computer and then to get rid of it. Just go to a library at that point. Yeah, stupid. Iron Rook, good to see you, brother. Thank you for your very generous super chat. I love Elder Scrolls. Morrowind is my goat. I think an Elder Scrolls TV show would be very difficult to pull off correctly. Best shot is it would be animated, like one of the anime types. Holy crap! I'm sorry. Like Castlevania. Yeah, I honestly, I would like to see them do something animated too. I think a Fallout animated show is like inevitable, like a Vault Dweller based thing, like a Vault Boy cartoon, like a silent cartoon with the Vault Boy. I think that's like inevitable. Especially if they're already doing a fucking reality TV show. I can't believe that's happening. I can only imagine what other Fallout shit's going to get pitched. So I like this idea. Do something different for Elder Scrolls. Doesn't have to be live action. It's the way I feel about Baldur's Gate. If Baldur's Gate was like an animated show and they were bringing back the original talent, can you imagine that? Like HBO is doing an animated TV show for continuing Baldur's Gate 3 and all the original voice talent is back. That's a much better sales pitch than we're doing a live action version of this. We're going to talk to Larian now, see where things are going, and we're going to continue everyone's story. And basically the other actors and actresses we're going to talk to them and see if they want to be involved. But obviously we're not going to use their likeness because none of them really look like their own characters. So yeah, I think animated could be fun as well. All right, who's ready for our next story here? Let's keep rocking and rolling here. I appreciate the super chats and all the good vibes here. Let's keep rocking, though. Let's keep talking a little bit about Highguard. This is our next story here. I got everything up, I believe, so let's go. Actually, no, I don't have everything up here. Hang on. I need my notes for this one. Witcher was more off the cuff, but I actually have notes I wanted for this one. Okay. Let's do this. Let's talk some Highguard. I made the mistake, though. I got to stop this. Before we start Highguard, I'm going to do something dangerous. I'm going to chug this because I keep sipping on it habitually, and then I keep feeling the need to burp because I got bubbles in my stomach. That's what seltzer does. Now, the real smart choice would be just to put this to the side and not touch it at all. But I'm not a waster. And, dude, have you ever tried flat seltzer? This is already room temperature. Have you tried flat seltzer? That's insane. So I need to eliminate the temptation. And by doing that, I'm going to drink this all. And I'm going to try to record a Matty Slop video for y'all. We'll see how that goes. Here we go. As you can tell, I never chugged in college. That was already a lot. I remember trying to learn to chug in college. I was not built like that. I was not a chugger. But yeah, as Decim said, yeah, I'm living a little dangerously here. But expect burps during the Highguard section. This is not my prettiest stream, but honestly, if you can't take me at my worst, you can't have me at my best. And you know when I'm at my best, no one's rocking and rolling like yours truly. I mean, you've seen how many times we've gone live this week. We're fucking firing on all cylinders right now. I'll do a dare, bro. Hold on. Okay, I'm done being gross now. I'm really all right. Let's talk some Highguard, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so if you've been paying attention to Highguard, it has been a whiplash of the last couple of weeks months, to say the least. It feels like this game's been around forever, and it was only just revealed in the middle of December 2025. Well, it's February, and I've got some updates for you. Let's go down the history of Highguard, the very brief history of it. They did some good things, and I thought that things were looking all right for them. They said, you've been asking, we're happy to share. 5v5 raid mode is here to stay. This was a really good sign because one of my biggest complaints with Highguard when I played it live here on stream and then put up my video about it, I mentioned that the map was gigantic for 3v3. It felt like there was not enough action. 5v5 was pretty good, and it was actually so good that we saw the reviews on Steam for Highguard go up to mixed. And after the review bombing and also some negative reviews that were left from people who actually played the game, for it to crawl up to mixed was kind of a good sign. Keep in mind now, this reminded me a little bit of Fallout 76. When I started to see that crawl to mostly positive on Steam, I went, okay, the people are starting to speak and beat out all of those negative reviews that were happening at launch. So I thought, okay, they're making some good changes here. That was a good one. And then the support kind of continued on here. They fired out Highguard Episode 2. This added a ranked mode, a new hero, a new map, and this all went live again pretty quickly. This is February 6th, so we weren't too far off from its January 26th release date, and they'd already added a 5v5 game mode in response to people's feedback, a new ranked mode, a new hero, a new map. Like, this felt like, okay, even if you've put this thing down, it's starting to build a little bit here. And if you're curious, you can actually see the new warden right here. And, you know, this is Kai. And I think he fits right in with the other wardens. I feel like I've seen him before. But, you know, cool. Cool and simple here. Actually, is this a new one? Is it? No, he's not. Wait. I was going to say, I fucking recognize this dude. Hang on. Time out. What is this dude's name? Hold on. Econ, hold on. I think I linked the wrong one. Highguard Econ trailer. Did he get a trailer? I apologize. Here, I did link the wrong one. Okay. Professional podcasting. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's take a look at the actual new warden here. This is Econ. So he's a hunter is what he is. And again, I thought this was interesting because already we've got a new playable character, a new map, new modes. Good. This is really good. Combine this with the 5v5 mode, and at least this guy's got a little personality to him, very vampire-like. I thought to myself, all right, this is going to be for everyone, but this is going to be for a group of people, and given it's a small self-published team, they can probably keep this thing afloat with the way they're moving right now. So this is impressive, quick support. Normally what would take months to get here, we're seeing really quickly in a couple of weeks. So I looked at this and thought, all right, you know, Highguard's not for me, but there's some optimism there to believe that this thing might hang around for a while. Well, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case here. We saw this LinkedIn post by Alex Grainer. He says, unfortunately, along with most of the team at Wildlight, I was laid off today. This one really stings as there was a lot of unreleased content I was really looking forward to that I and others designed for Highguard. However, I'm excited for my next adventure. If your team or anyone you know needs an experienced level designer, hit me up. And so, yeah, right here we learn, okay, most of the team at Wildlight has been laid off. So this has already, in just a couple of weeks, been reduced to a skeleton crew. You go over to Twitter here, and we get another confirmation of another layoff. This is from Josh Sobel, who we will be returning to in a moment here. And he says, today I was laid off from Wildlight, along with most of the staff. It was the best team I've ever worked with, and I've never put so much of myself into a project before. I wouldn't trade the past 2.5 years for anything. I'm still spinning and won't be in a place to start thinking about the future for a while, but please keep me in mind if in the near future you're looking for a senior or higher level rigger, CFX artist, or tech artist with experience writing Maya Python, rigging pipelines, rigging assets, and setting up game assets in Unreal Engine, leading a team throughout asset production with quick turnarounds, cloth and hair, simulation, etc. He's located in LA, and so that's another layoff, right? So, okay, we're seeing people start to post, LinkedIn, Twitter. What exactly did Wildlight have to say about this one here? Well, they posted on their Twitter account the following here. They wrote, today, we made the incredibly difficult decision to part ways with a number of our team members while keeping a core group of developers to continue innovating on and supporting the game. We're proud of the team, talent, and the product we've created. We're also grateful for players who give the game a shot, which I think is very nice to say, because I think, as I'll talk about in a little bit, more people gave this a shot than I ever expected, and those who continue to be part of the community. So yeah, very reminiscent of the Concord situation, right? Highguard has failed. It's a free-to-play multiplayer game that came out and needed people to surge and support it for a while. And we'll talk about what the feelings were internally as they were making this thing. But they needed this thing to be supported explosively out of the gate. That was not the case. So after working in a little bit of a vacuum for 4 years, they come out. There's no support there. We've already seen the player counts. They haven't been great. So Highguard has to lay off most of its team and basically have a skeleton crew support this thing. And I would say give it 6 months till you see here's when we're turning off the servers, maybe even earlier. But I don't think this game is going to be around for much longer, which to some out there Again, I'm trying to have nuance in a conversation about Highguard because I just feel like none of it exists. You know, some people did like this. They did like the support that they were seeing for this. They did see the potential in what this could be. So I do think that's important to call out. Now, where things get really messy here is we go back to the tech artist from earlier here who posted he lost his job. He put up this article reflecting on shipping my first game, Highguard. And I want to just kind of read this basically word for word, bar for bar, because there's going to be so many points we're going to pause and talk because as you can, I mean, look, 2.2K replies, 2.4K likes. You've been on social media. You know where this is going. When you see certain ratios, you just kind of, your brain draws this natural conclusion of, oh, okay, this probably isn't pretty. So we're going to read this whole thing and have multiple points of reflection here to talk about where we're at with AAA game development, live service game development, hero shooters, art styling, toxic positivity, even if it's innocent toxic positivity, how that can seep in, and how ultimately there's a bit of confusion going on why players and other developers can see a problem with their game, but somehow a core team working on their own thing cannot see the issues that many others have seen. So let's start breaking this down a little bit here, all right? He says, the day leading into the Game Awards 2025 was among the most exciting of my life. After 2.5 years of passionately working on Highguard, we were ready to reveal to the world the future seemed bright. Everyone I knew who had any connection to the team or project had the same sentiments. This is lightning in a bottle. I trust this team wholeheartedly. If there's one project nobody in the world industry is worried, let me try it again. If there's no one in the world, let me try the third time. This is usually where YouTube editing helps me out a lot. If there's one project nobody in the industry is worried will fail, it's yours. This has mainstream hit written all over it. There's no way this will flop. I could play this game all day. The internal, keyword right there, internal, pre-reveal feedback, even from unbiased sources, was quite positive, and where it was negative, it was constructive and often actionable. People who played the game, including us, had a blast, and since we were an independent, self-published studio built with royalties in mind, many of us were hoping this could finally be the thing that broke the millennial financial curse. But then the trailer came out, and it was all downhill from there. Content creators love to point out the bias in folks who give positive previews after being flown out for an event, but ignore the fact that when their negative-leaning content gets 10 times the engagement of the positive, they've got just as much incentive to lean into the disingenuous direction, whether consciously or not. There's already so much to say. There's already like a video's worth to say on this one here. Okay, so first thing I want to point out is right here. This little clip right here. Everyone I knew who had any connection to the project or team had the same sentiments. All internal. And they said even when it's unbiased, it was quite positive, right? So what you see here is buying your own hype. Whether this individual realizes it or not, same thing as what he said about content creators, which we'll also talk about whether they realize it or not. This was clearly susceptible to a level of toxic positivity because I don't understand why, if you're a team of a couple hundred people and you make this game, you could not see the obvious issues with it or brushed over them or adjusted to them and just got used to them, which is something I'll also talk about, versus hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who saw Highguard and immediately knew, I don't want to play as those characters. I've seen this before. And then, as we'll get into with the did they play it or not, look, man, I'll bring up the Steam charts right now. This is about what I expected at launch, right here. This here, 97K just on one platform. And you could argue Highguard saw maybe close to 1 million installs on its launch day, just based on that number. Like, look, dude, people tried this thing. And I think the internet has a tendency to kind of draw its own conclusions quickly and act upon them. But with Highguard, I do feel the industry actually showed some level of open-mindedness if actually playing the thing mattered. The reality is we see here that people jumped in and then quickly jumped out. And this happened just rapidly, right? Like people jumped in and you see the decline immediately. They gave it a shot and they didn't like it. And what you'll see with this post here is that given that so many people told them internally, This is, again, lightning in a bottle. If there's one project nobody in the industry is worried will fail, it's yours. This has mainstream hit written all over it. This versus what you received is why you are writing this in the first place, because it is such whiplash to what you've been taught for the last 2.5 years. And I feel bad for this guy because I look at this and I'm like, this is exactly what's wrong with the games industry, right? Okay, investors love this sort of shit. Of course, they're going to have the money sign in their pupils because they're going to be like, oh my God. Like, yeah, if this hits, dude, this is going to make a lot of money. Also, you're self-published, right? You're indie. You don't really need as much money as the other studios. So your bar for success isn't really as high as others. This is actually something that Wildlight themselves has told us before, that they didn't need a massive player count at launch. And I guess to some extent they did. Just, I imagine they were talking in like the 20Ks maybe instead of the twos. So yeah, there's just, again, a lot to already have been said here. But let's keep reading, because unpacking it further, I think this article gets even more interesting. And again, we're only just scratching the surface of the first chunk of a very lengthy read. They say, the hate started immediately. In addition to dogpiling on the trailer, I personally came under fire due to my naivety on Twitter, which almost all of my now former coworkers had learned to avoid during their previous game launches. After setting my Twitter account to private to protect my sanity, many content creators made videos and posts about me and my cowardice, amassing millions of views and inadvertently sending hundreds of angry gamers into my reply. They laughed at me for being proud of the game, told me to get out my McDonald's applications, and mocked me for listing having autism in my bio, which they all seemed to think was evidence that this game would be woke trash. All of this was very emotionally taxing. There's much constructive criticism that can be and has been said about Highguard's trailer, marketing, and launch, but I don't think it's my place to commentate on that. I also don't think there's any way to know whether the launch would have fared better or worse without the massive spotlight that was thrown onto us in the response to the Game Award trailer placement, but we never got that chance. We were turned into a joke from minute one, largely due to false assumptions about a $1 million ad placement, which even prominent journalists soon began to state as fact. Within minutes, it was decided this game was dead on arrival, and creators now had free rage bait content for a month. Every one of the videos on social media got downvoted to hell. Comment sections were flooded with copy and paste meme phrases such as Concord 2 and Titanfall 3 died for this. At launch, we received over 14K review bombs from users with less than an hour of playtime. Many didn't even finish the required tutorial. In discussions online about Highguard, Concord 2 XKO, and such, it is often pointed out by gamers that devs like to blame gamers for their failures, and that's silly. As if gamers have no power, but they do, a lot of it. I'm not saying our failure is purely the gamer's fault and that the game would have thrived without negative discourse, but it absolutely played a role. All products are at the whims of the consumers, and the consumers put absurd amounts of effort into slandering Highguard, and it worked. Many of Wildlight's former devs will now be forced to assimilate back into the actual corporate industry many gamers accuse Wildlight of being part of. Now, every time someone thinks about leaving the golden handcuffs behind in favor of making new multiplayer games the indie way, they'll say, but remember how gamers didn't even give Wildlight a chance. Soon, if the pattern continues, all that'll be left are corporations, at least in the multiplayer space. Innovation is on life support. Okay, this is where we try to put on our nuance cap. I understand feeling like this, okay? And when people hear I understand, they think I immediately mean, oh my God, I agree completely. I wholeheartedly sympathize with everything he says here. Making something and putting it out there is a vulnerable experience, whether it's as small as a YouTube video like my own or something as big as a game. As someone who's working on a game, I'm terrified of that day. It is a very emotionally taxing feeling because it is the idea of like, I really hope people like this. It's the eagerness, but it's the anxiety of it all. If people like it, there's probably no better feeling. If they don't, I can't imagine something much worse, right? And there is a level of, with indie, you control your own fate. The problem is you are an indie team that chose to go with a art style that is derived from a 2016 game, which has been hanging around for, now a decade now. Not only that, but all of the systems and the mechanics that we found in your game were familiar. The problem in all of this here is that it is framing what we see here, saying we return to a joke from minute one. Yes, unfortunately, people are really mean on the internet, and I'll talk about that as well. But what's not really being acknowledged here is the reality that is this, to me, at least, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but based on my impressions of the game, which I played for 3 hours on stream, what we have here is a game that I found to be, for a lack of better terms, mid. And I mean that in the most literal sense. I did not find Highguard to be this deeply offensive garbage product like a lot of people did. I just didn't see that. It played way better than most terrible games I played like Concord. It also wasn't as great as others were saying, though. There were a lot of people who were capping for the game hardcore and saying, like, no, this is the next big thing, which is the hype that we can see here in this article, again, going back up here, that they completely bought into. This is what they were told it was going to be. Not to say that if they got criticism, they weren't ready to listen to it, but they weren't ready for how much criticism was going to be there. But again, I found myself right in the middle. Like, this is a very much nothing video game. It's not offensive to me because it's not very good, but it's also not so awful that I'm going to lose my mind. So it's just kind of this mediocre thing that hasn't moved the needle in any way, shape, or form. And so therefore, I uninstalled the game after the stream and I never played it. And, you know, not to be mean, but I'm not going to miss it when it's gone. And that's what I think is the inflection point in all of this, is that you need to dig deeper if you're going to jump into this genre, right? You just need to. I imagine they had their raid mode plan and thought, that's it. That's the gimmick. But people want to play as cool characters. We just saw this happen with Horizon Hunters Gathering. I am sure Horizon Hunters Gathering stepped up and had great gameplay. Like, I'm sure it plays fine because Guerrilla has made great gameplay in the past here, right? But people want to connect with characters, and when you give them a slew of characters that, for a lack of a better term, are unappealing or derived from designs we have seen for over a decade now, you are a drop in a very big bucket. You can actually look up here. I used this in a video. Just how many live service shooters have shut down. How many live service shooters have shut down? I remember I found an article on this. Hang on. Trying to find this specific one here. Hang on, guys. Sorry. Just came to mind for me. If I can't find it, I'll just get to my point. Or anyway, hold on, let me, instead of live service, hero shooters. That failed. Here we go. That should probably get me where I'm looking here. Okay. Yeah, this will do the trick. Hold on. This will do the trick here. I'm not a fan of Game Rant. I think they're very clickbaity. But look, here's a bunch of games. Lawbreakers, Concord, Crucible, probably forgot about that one. Second Wave, never even heard of that. Battleborn, used to love that. I wouldn't call it a hero shooter, more like a first-person MOBA, but like, I get it. Don't even know how to pronounce that one. Lemnis Gate, remember hearing about that. Rocket Arena, that was one that was shut down. Renaissance Heroes. And there's so many other multiplayer shooters that have been shut down. This is a very competitive genre, and it's a sink or swim genre. And to me, what it read like is that someone who worked on their first game had no idea how much that would be. But that's also part of the conversation here. People are talking to this guy like he is the director or something. This is a tech artist. All right. This is a tech artist. I spit on my mic. This is a tech artist who worked in one division of the entire team. You know, so I only take his words so heavily here, but we'll round out his article where he posts, even if Highguard had a rocky launch, our independent self-published dev-led studio full of passionate people just trying to make a fun game with zero AI and zero corporate oversight deserve better than this. We deserve the bare minimum of not having our downfall be gleefully manifested. I wish the best of luck to the few who remain at Wildlight and hope Highguard can stay the course. I still believe in it, and so do the fans we reached and who continue to champion it on subreddit, Discord, Twitch, and social media. And even though this adventure has come to an abrupt and emotionally challenging close, I don't regret 1 second of it. So this is the other thing, is that if you were able to control your own destiny so much, like no AI, no corporate oversight, kind of speaks to the talent then at a certain point. The game felt fine, but it speaks to the talent at a certain point where it's like you decided to make something that looked like this and felt like this. Like, people need characters to attach to, but like this was the artistic direction you went in when you could have done anything. It wasn't like there was a corporate mandate. Like, to me, in a lot of ways, that's a little worse. It's like no one was telling you to do it like this. You just did it yourself. Looks are a lot of it's the first thing you see, right? Like, trailers are so important in games because it's the first thing you see. art style is the most important thing in games because it's the first thing you see. No one cares about, obviously I should say this. They care about programming and bug stomping and that sort of stuff, but not until they have their hands on it, right? If like you're just trying to make sure someone can mentally buy in, how your game looks is everything. You have to consider market trends. You have to think about like all this stuff that's there. Market trends, where's gaming getting? We're starting this development of this project now. Like if Highguard came out in 2020, it might still be a little late, but at least it could find itself in the mix a bit more, right? Because you're just coming right after like Apex Legends. So you're still kind of there where it's not totally 100,000% saturated. But instead, here you are in 2026. So yeah, man, like I get why it is tough to wrestle with because I'm sure the public blasting doesn't feel great. But the reason the public blasting continues is not because people just want to dunk on the game. It's because of things like this right here. I will keep going back to this. I get that they're saying that even from unbiased sources, but look, dude, I know you have to like go with what your team wants to make ultimately. But I think given the wider reaction and how positive voices were difficult to find on this game right away, I do look at Highguard as a moment where, again, we look at that, Concord, Suicide Squad, the list goes on. Hunter Gathering might be in that mix too. We really need to start considering more challengers in the room. If I am I run my own team and I encourage our team to challenge each other. There's a way to do it politely, by the way, right? There's toxic ways to do it. We've read about that online with like Ubisoft and whatnot, Activision, where it's just toxic leadership. There's a way to challenge someone to do better without being an asshole about it. And like, that's what I'm not saying that this team didn't have that, but for them to buy their own hype this much is why I think people are now stomping the game because it's now a refusal to learn. And I think that's the most we can do from the human experience. Unfortunately, it was a okay game that didn't quite make the cut. That's how I look at it. What do you learn from that? To me, if your lesson is when you're reflecting on shipping your first game is it was lightning in a bottle and we were victims at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm no doubt that review bombing and whatnot didn't help. But I also think that when you look at other games that have crawled out of that hole, that a great game does speak for itself. And again, if Highguard was a great game underneath it, I do think that people would have hung around for longer. I just think this number would not have dropped off so steeply and we wouldn't be in the, this is going to be in the hundreds by next week. I just think if there was a good game in there, people gave it a chance because it was free and tried to find it. But it also speaks to just, again, free to play is very risky. I think it's why you're going to see, Arc Raiders charge $40, Marathon charge $40. I think people are willing to pay for good multiplayer experiences if they're going to offer them something different with longevity and getting rid of a lot of the crap. So Highguard has to be a lesson to a lot of developers, especially those who want to jump in the live service space, the hero shooter space. I'm sure there's room, but you have to have a really good idea. You have to be at the front of a trend. And so, yeah, man, I can only hope that just like the human experience kicks in. Like, yeah, it's emotional. I don't think it's a problem if Josh was sharing this privately and just was very angry and upset about it. I think that's totally fair. But when you pass those emotions and you come to the learning phase and the acceptance phase, I hope the genuine takeaway is just like, okay, like what can we do better next time? Because I don't think this was their best swing. And that's what I hope they accept at the end of the day. It's not an easy pill to swallow, especially on such a grand stage, especially because you want the game to continue to thrive. But I'm sure this will be offline soon. So, yeah, Highguard not in a great spot, man. And I think give it till 2027 at the latest, and this one will be offline. All right. What a story. What a story. Like I said, that was the yappiest one for sure. That was definitely the yappiest one. Let's see here. I know I got some super chats while I was gabbing. I was talking for a while, so I apologize. I missed a couple. Throat coat can't chug. Well, Iron Rook, I mean, throat coat's for the soothing. It's not for the chugging. Godsmack, thank you for your super chat as well. I did see that Capcom dropped Dino Crisis on Steam. I already played the first one, but Dino Crisis 2 I have not played. And I saw Susie Sphere Hunter's video on Dino Crisis 2, and that kind of sold me on it because it was a little more RE4 like. But I love the first Dino Crisis, so I definitely want to check that out at some point. Panopticon, thank you for your super chat. My ears perked up on Duke when you said Golden Sun is your GOAT. You'd love Sun Eater series, immaculate writing, Rand agrees. Look at the book covers. Okay. If you're putting Golden Sun on that level, dude. Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you for the book, Rex. Toxic positivity in game dev is dangerous, says Pigeon Go Gaming. It convinced them that a 3 versus 3 hero FPS with 5-minute segments of mining on empty maps was an engaging game loop. Yeah. Exactly. So, you're also, I forgot to mention this, but like you're also fighting against time with these live games. Like they demand time, they demand dedication, they demand recurrent player bases. And I think even something like a marathon, it looks like we'll talk about that next in our topic here. But I think this is a game that will come out and do some things, but I don't know how long it'll hang for unless it's like a rocketing success like an Arc Raiders is. So, I think these multiplayer games are hitting a little bit of a wall because people want, the industry has spoken. Look at all of our Game of the Year winners. Look at some of our top sellers. They're single player games. That doesn't mean that we don't have any at all room for multiplayer, but I do think the audience has spoken quite loudly that there's a type of game they are looking for now, and I think developers are wise to listen to that. Both are great, but Sun Eater is way slower. I imagine so because Golden Sun being the second book in the series or the trilogy for Red Rising. I mean, that book is balls to the wall, dude. Like Darrow firing himself out of a fucking cannon. That shit was epic. Awesome part. I am just getting our Bungie stuff ready for our next story here. Shout out to Emmett for this one. He put it all together for us on his own. I'm kidding. Yeah, the ending is so good. I agree, FH. That the ending for Golden Sun is so good. Yeah. I gotta try Morningstar again, dude. I got to chapter, what was it, 30 or something like that. I didn't like a lot of the character decisions. A lot of them just felt very forced, very, very forced. I don't know. I think Pierce Brown is a excellent writer. He gave me when I say gave me, he did a video on word association and how it kind of creates ideas for his writing. And it's some of the best advice I've ever heard. So he's a genius. He's a million times better writer than I'll ever be. But I did not agree with all his decisions in Morningstar so far. But it's a book I need to finish to be more definitive on that. Especially because I want to be there for Red God, Where did you get your Pika Hut hoodie? Elevator. I got it from man, what was the? I always forget. They're always at PAX East. Let me see if I search up Pika Hut. Huh. I wonder if I'm buying it from like just this fucking this logo is like everywhere. I'm actually not 100% sure where. It's always at PAX East. They always have like it's where if you see any of my like food related Pokemon clothing items, I get them all from the same place. Let me look up another one here. Weeping Bell Taco Bell shirt. Let's see. There's another one I had. Max level play. That seems right. I think I found them. No, this isn't either. I'm sorry, dude. You can definitely, if you type in Pika Hut hoodie though, you can definitely find what I was wearing the other day. Oh, we got some super chats here. David Sweet. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. Hi, Matty. Big fan from England. Keep up the good work. Stay sexy. Stay active. Thank you. Appreciate you supporting the streams too, dude. Good to see you here. Hoplite. Good to see you again. So many devs blame the culture war for a game's failure, but games like Baldur's Gate 3 in 2027 had, or 2077 had progressive themes and sold well. It's because those games are good. Yeah, they're also just intelligently written. Like, that's the other thing. Like, Metaphor is one of the most progressive games you'll ever play. Like, but the difference is Metaphor represents both sides of the spectrum. It's not like one side is bad. Like, it's a very politically heavy game. And they released it in time for the United States election, one of our most polarizing elections. And no one had anything really to say they tried for like a brief fucking moment, but it was like, you're going to go after Atlas, who's like some of the best fucking writers in the industry and can handle any subject matter with grace. Like, really? Stupid fight to pick. But yeah, I don't think it's as simple as game good, just to be honest with you, Hoplite. I think it is also down to like just how it's written. I think all sides need to be represented. You don't want to be preachy. You want to show, don't tell. Like, it's very simple fundamentals, but I think a lot of those conventions for writing are just forgotten. It's very easy to get wrapped up in it. It's why like drafts are important. Like, get your intent across first, and then from that established intent, build off of it and like peel those layers back. Otherwise, you're left just very bluntly stating what you want the game to say, and that's not really enjoyable for the player. But I think good writing is everything. I think even a multiplayer game, we were grabbing onto like the little quotes and quips between like Overwatch characters. Like, those interactions are everything. They have to be just right. Yeah, Neo, I did hear about what happened with 2XKO. It's a shame. Because that's another one. Like, free-to-play does not seem to be working. That was a free fighter game. And I just think, like, them taking the League of Legends approach to that game was a little weird. I feel like 2XKO should have been like a premium game. You know? Pay for it. Market it a little heavier. Probably tie in the League of Legends name, too. Like, League of Legends, 2XKO, or just Arcane fighting game. Like, they could have made it way bigger. Also, launching with, like, what was it, 10, 12 characters? I mean, I know it was like a deeper fighting game, but I just think it needed a little bit more in that. Especially in such a competitive year for fighting games. I don't know if 2XKO released on Steam. It's a good point. Thanks for trying to look it up. My girlfriend Kaylee was wondering from another video we watched. Yeah, like I said, if you want to just find that Pika Hut hoodie, definitely try just searching it up, and you'll find plenty of places. Like Etsy had them. I saw, like, you know, people are just putting the logo on the chest there. But the play, I saw Max Level Play as one of the websites, and that looked familiar to me. But was it like Next Level Games or something like that? I just remember like green next to their icon. But they were, again, they're always at PAX East. They're always on like the far eastern wall when you're going down the escalators. They're always there. And they always have like tons of like, they have like a Weeping Bell Taco Bell shirt. That one was awesome. They have so many cool ones. I love it. Oh, it's only on the Riot client. Well, there you go. There's also that. Should have been on Steam. Oh, I'm happy to hear that, Norm. Thank you. Or Elevator Nom. Sorry, I'm butchering names today. I'm excited too, Chris Johnson. Looks really good. Am I headed to PAX East next month, Tyler? I think we're taking this year off. My wife and I want to travel and go on like an actual vacation. I didn't have much of vacation over the winter break this year because I was writing for our game the whole time. And so, and when I say the whole time, I mean like literally the whole time. Like I was down to the fucking wire writing my ass off. So no, I'm not thinking I'm going to do that this year. We want to go travel somewhere, and I want to take like a good week and a half off and just kind of kick my feet up. So, that'll probably be around PAX East time. That, or we're looking at like May. So We shall see. I ended up liking them so far, Jack. Mets offseason moves have ended up pretty nice. Let's get to our third story here. I think that actually may end up being our final one because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm running a little low on energy today, so I don't want to like drag it out too much if I'm not feeling 100%. Because like I said, I'm just a little burnt out and I have recordings to do after this, so I just want to make sure I can get those done in a reasonable time, kick my feet up, and kind of just coast into a weekend and recharge for next week. Like I said, I kind of stretched myself thin this week, so I appreciate again you guys hanging with me. It's been a week. Oh, hey, I forgot to mention this. Thank you for supporting the Matty Slop channel. 15K subs in a week, dude. Fucking crazy. We, again, wanted 5 in a month. So really good. And also the channel's already a partner, which is cool. So just did not expect it to move this fast, but Emmett and I are really grateful that everyone has supported thus far, these streams and everything like that. Well, that's what I'm going to do, Kenny. Yeah, after this, once I record our Crimson Desert video, the only thing here on my planner is I'm gonna go take good care of myself. I'm gonna play fucking Resident Evil 6. Honestly, kind of guilty pleasure game. I'll talk about it in Retro Rebound, but I got a lot of good memories of that game. Let's talk about Marathon though. I want to kind of focus on this one here because I've been getting a lot of questions about it. So, all right, let me get my notes up. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about Marathon, ladies and gentlemen, because this game has gone from the stolen art controversy to now what seems to be one of the most hyped games of the year. Now, I'll call myself out, right? I made a lot of coverage around Marathon during that plagiarism scheme because I thought it's just an irredeemable act. And I know it's one person, but it's a very selfish act by one or a group of individuals within the art team that damned the whole project. And basically the war I'm going to be tackling today that I've been experiencing internally is Marathon, honestly, in this latest trailer, looking really cool, grasping my mind in a unique way, but also my favorite element of this game is kind of the contaminated part of it. And should I get over that to ultimately play this game, and am I punishing the wrong developers for that? Because with something like Marathon, right, is it fair for me to punish an entire team of hundreds of people who are basically counting on this game to succeed so that Bungie can continue on in the capacity that they are at right now, more independently rather than being rolled into PlayStation? Should I punish all of them because I didn't like the actions of one dude who has now left the company? I want to dive into that, but to get there, I want to kind of point out some of its turnaround here. First off, we have Windows Central Gaming here, who points out that Marathon has skyrocketed on Steam's top sellers chart after the pre-orders went live, and it's the second best selling paid game, just below Ark Raiders, which we know was well over 10 million copies here. I found this to already be a really surprising revelation here, because this was happening like right as the game was starting to gain some more steam. You see, if you look at this video right here, this is the one that started to win people back. This is the Vision of Marathon Bungie Vidoc. And before we even just check a little of this out here, you'll see in the comments here, I was so surprised at how positive it was. Not because I want people to destroy, but you can see my homie Destin here. He says, this Vidoc gives me hope here. Wow, the corpse decay thing is so cool. We just see, I like how they enhance the vibrant colors while maintaining the dangerous atmosphere. Okay, I appreciate the added grittiness. So they did adjust the art style. Bro's hitting the G spot with that piano. Damn. Excellent that the bodies stay in decay now. More detailed customization would be welcome too. You see, the foliage and environments look so much better. It feels like there's actually like a short film that was made now. So you're seeing on the visual front, positivity. Even down here, soundtrack still bangs. So you know me, I'm not usually the content creator who's like, look what everyone's saying. There's my content for the video. But you're seeing that based on this Vidoc here, people have really started to get on board with what they're doing with this world here. And so if I can show the world, there we go. A lot of people were starting to like the technological aesthetic, the gameplay. They're turning it around. And again, I found this tremendously shocking just given this situation they are in. That situation being right here. Marathon's stolen art issue has finally been resolved. So for those who did not catch up, Anti-Real did call out Bungie, saying that they stole their art style. And you could see it was like 1-to-1. Like someone straight up ripped it 1-to-1. It's never been exactly indicated who that was, but in our next story here, I have my suspicions. But fortunately, you'll see her on Twitter that Anti-Real does confirm that the marathon art issue has been resolved with Bungie and Sony to my satisfaction. And you can see my reply here is how I think things went. I would be pretty satisfied too if I'm hoping that she got the bag and then some. Well-deserved, of course. Very talented artist. So I think that was a little bit of vindication. Okay, they've gotten rid of the guy who might be responsible for this. They've satisfied Anti-Real, likely with a lot of money. Okay, maybe now's a good time for a new beginning. So then they drop that Vision of Marathon Vidoc. From there, I have this interview here with This Week in Video Games where it says Marathon art director Joseph Cross discusses departure from Bungie. I was really curious about this one because this guy's talking after, he was there as their art director. The controversy happened and Joseph Cross was one of the guys you saw on that stream who was like fidgeting and everything because understandably he was like, we are so screwed. But they still decided to do a live stream after getting caught plagiarizing for Marathon. And we know how the internet goes. The chat really let him have that. So here's what he says. Regarding his departure in December 2025, which came just months prior to the release of Marathon in March 2026, Cross told Klimatov that, quote, it ended up being a confluence of things. It wasn't one thing. One reason was his desire to continue working as an artist on new projects. I still consider myself essentially a commercial artist, and I have an identity as an artist and as an individual, and understanding game development culture. At some point, I understood how I relate to all this. I'm not a founder of Bungie. This is not my company, and I'm conscious of the number of projects I get to work on in my life. I'm not getting any younger. I've spent what will ultimately be 15 years essentially on 2 projects for Bungie, Destiny and Marathon, with film work in between. And the natural cadence of the kind of work that happens post-launch in a service game, I also understood what that was looking like. Cross also cites the leadership responsibilities associated with his role at Bungie being a factor. Quote, at the end of the level of seniority that I had, there are challenges that don't necessarily exist as an artist. And getting to this phase of a project like this at the level had its own challenges that contributed also. But I'd like to primarily say it was just a feeling that it's a good amount of time to work on a thing. I talked to a lot of artists and peers about it and ultimately came down to your identity. Who are you as an artist, as a creative? That was the decision I felt like I needed to make. Regarding the shifting public sentiment toward Marathon, which took a blow following the lukewarm closed alpha playtest, Cross said, it's difficult for me to take any of that stuff personally because I believe in the art, because I believe in what we've done. I can't control the way the game plays. I'm not a designer. I'm not the game director. I can only control what I can control, and what I could control, I feel really good about. And you can't take that away from me as much as the haters try to online. Whatever the animosity is, you can't take that sort of thing I care about away the most. Additionally, Cross spoke to the seemingly heightened role that Marathon's art direction had in building its appeal. Quote, at a certain point, I really did believe that art had potentially more of a responsibility for creating interest than it would have if we were working on a different kind of game. The game's design, nobody's reinventing the wheel here. We're putting compelling spins on established mechanics. The narrative is also not reinventing the wheel. It's an abandoned space colony where something mysterious happened. We've seen this a lot. It's about how you spin it. And at some point, for better or for worse, I told myself that this is an opportunity for art to sort of step up and provide a level of newness in this world. Interesting. Klimatov's interview concludes with Cross musing on the high-risk nature of the project and the diminishing possibility of it more like existing in the future. He says, quote, oftentimes we felt like we were sort of getting away with something, he said. I think about that in the big picture. The idea of the studio's funding unproven, unknown projects for 6 or 8 years for hundreds of millions of dollars, sort of on spec. How much longer are things like that going to exist? So no real mention in all this about really what happened with the plagiarism there, which, again, art director, that's your department. You got to oversee that sort of stuff. So interesting there was no mention of it. But the point being is that he did leave. I do think this crossed something off for people. So you did right by Anti-Real. Art director's out. Vidoc is painting a clear vision. And there's a response that felt very quick from the alpha playtest. The pressure's on Marathon still, though, because if that all wasn't enough there, we see that Sony has said Bungie hasn't brought in as much money as it thought it would when it bought developer as Destiny 2 falls off a cliff. Here's the exact quote from Lin Tao. Quote, regarding Destiny 2, partially due to the changes in the competitive environment, the level of sales and user engagement have not reached the expectations we had at the time of acquisition of Bungie. While we will continue to make improvements, we downwardly revised the business projection for the time being and recorded an impairment loss against a portion of the assets at Bungie. So it's certainly been a tough time for them, and they have certainly had their work cut out for them. And if that wasn't enough, then let's go back to 2024, where after Final Shape and how well received that was, they made a lot of cuts, letting 17% of the workforce go. This was in a post by Bungie boss Pete Parsons, who, by the way, is also out now. So that can also build some positive sentiment that Bungie's getting rid of a lot of the gunk, a lot of the stuff that made them really hard to root for even longtime fans like myself who grew up loving Halo. I was not a big Destiny guy really ever. I played like 10 hours of Destiny 2. So can't really speak to that too much, but grew up with Bungie. Loved Bungie growing up until 2012, something like that. Actually, I played a decent amount of Destiny 1. Anyway, it's the same rigmarole you've seen before. Generous exit package, industry shifts, enduring economic conditions, yada, yada, yada. This all is on the heels of the launch of the Final Shape, which just did not do enough. And Bungie really didn't have a place to pivot to after Final Shape. For a lot of people, it's kind of like where we were with Marvel, right? You reach your endgame moment, and when you reach endgame, what happens? Interest in the brand falls off. We know what happened with Phase, whatever the hell it was called. Not a lot of people really tuned in for what Marvel was doing. And now they're bringing back all the hits. They're like, we're bringing back Captain America. We're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. We're bringing everyone back for this. And suddenly people are talking about Marvel again, right? So Bungie needed to pivot. They only had Marathon up next. There was no Destiny 3. And then here we see that Sony says Bungie's independence is getting lighter as it aims to launch Marathon. We are now fixing the problem, so we believe this launch will happen. This is indicated in that, after everything went south with Marathon, right? And it was this huge, huge issue. People are wondering, is this game going to even launch? I'll admit I was wrong. I was one of the people who said that I think Marathon's going to get canceled because I felt that the issue, that the rot was going to run a lot deeper, where they would have to reach real deep to fix it. And who knows? There's a playtest coming up soon, and we'll talk about that in a moment here, but maybe there's a level of we found something else. For their sake and those who did work hard in the game and had nothing to do with the artistic direction of the game with anti-hero and everything like that, I just hope it does pan out well. But yeah, so we see that Sony's telling us that Bungie's independence is getting a bit lighter here. And so this is from, again, Lin Tao here, saying, again, no commitment, no official announcement, just a lot of corporate speak here, keeping it very safe, very close to the chest here, is what Sony was doing with Bungie. Now, to move things a step forward here, things are turning around in 2026. February comes around. Sony's very confident in Marathon after a playtest change here. So this is a little bit different. Again, it's Lin Tao, and she said it had our user tests, and then users had feedback. What were the good points and not good points? Such feedback we have taken in consideration and modified it. This time around, after the modification, we are very confident for it to release on March 5th. Tal had also previously told investors that Sony was fully dedicated to launching Marathon within the current fiscal year, which ends on March 31st, 2026. She also addressed a subsequent query regarding the importance of having a live service portfolio. And what is most important for us is that live service is recurring revenue. So this is why, by the way, for those of you wondering, will there ever be another Concord for PlayStation? Why shouldn't they cancel something like Fair Games? It's because they don't want to. They're gonna give it a shot because if one of them hits, that's all they need. If it becomes a hit, then for years it can bring in revenue. If it doesn't become a hit, then no revenue. Well said. If it's going to give us constant amount of revenue every year, that's the merit of having a hit live service. I forgot she even said this. This is so unfucking believable to me. It's not that we want to have too many of them. That's not what we want to have. So the ideal is a AAA and live service games would become integrated into our portfolio. So that's why they wanted to stick with Marathon. I think for PlayStation, the main reason they bought Bungie was they're trying to crack into that live service genre. They were their best chance at doing that because when PlayStation bought Bungie, Destiny 2 was doing its thing, riding high, easy investment. Now, let's get to the conclusion of this conversation here. We learned with this latest trailer here that just debuted at the State of Play that Marathon's getting a server slam beginning February 26th, 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it's going all the way to March 2nd, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And so you'll be able to jump in on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, cross-play, cross-save. So all the changes that you've seen, all that you've heard about, everything from the Vidoc, everything is going to be here. And we're going to go ahead, check this thing out, and maybe it'll ramp up a little chatter for the game. Now, here's where I want to answer the question that's been thrown my way a lot. They're like, Matty, are you going to play this? Matty, are you going to review this? Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm very conflicted. I don't know if I have a really good answer because I did speak very loudly on the stolen art issue. And it seems like, and I don't want to be like a follower in this case because I think that's like the last thing you want to do is like, just what's everyone else doing? But I do detect that there is a little bit of a sentiment of like, okay, forgiveness is kind of in the air. At the same time, Bungie has had an issue with plagiarism. Does this mean I need to swear off all their games? That's an interesting part of the conversation because I think of companies of games I have played before. Ubisoft, Activision. There were claims of like sexual harassment, toxic leadership, that sort of shit, right? That we don't want to see in game development. But I still played those games because my belief then was, am I really going to punish like the level designer or the programmer who had nothing to do with all this stuff, who still want their job and who are making a game that's compelling to me because someone fucked up really badly? So that's where I kind of find myself again. Except with Marathon and his visual identity, I think the difference is like when there's toxic work leadership, it's just as bad, right? But you don't feel that or see it. It's not like in actively the product itself. But when there is a level of feeling like, okay, is what I'm looking at, which happened, at least for me with Marathon, happens to be the most compelling part of the project. Like, I love Bungie first-person shooting, of course, no duh. That's like what they're known for. Music and atmosphere is also another thing, of course, no duh. But their art style, to me, in a day and age where I feel like a lot of games look very similar, the main thing I thought about with Marathon that appealed to me was, wow, this looks different. So the thing that attracted me the most and why I was so strong on like, I don't want to play this is because it happened to be the most controversial part of the game now. And it's not like that's gone. But again, I see forgiveness is in the air and I'm just tossing and turning like, is it ultimately something that I want to play? I can't lie. I do look at the recent trailer that we got at the State of Play and I go, that was really good. That captured my mind in the right way. I even said it when we streamed it. I said, you know what? That looked really good. The music, the atmosphere, the creepiness, the mystery. This is capturing my mind. The reason I didn't play a lot of Arc Raiders is Arc Raiders is a ton of fun. The AI is beyond impressive, but the universe didn't quite capture my mind as much as I wanted to. But Marathon does. So I'm leaning in this direction. I'm going to try it out during the server slam. I'm going to keep an open mind because I see a lot of others have kept a very open mind. I want to try it out, and if I like it, then I'll play it at launch, right? But I am going in with a level of resistance. I am fighting with myself the whole time. And I'll be curious what the audience is saying as well when I catch up on chat and comments and that sort of stuff. But for me, Marathon, this is where I've settled. The server slam is perfect for people like me. Like, hey, we know how you feel. Here's a preview weekend. Come check it out. See how you feel about things. And so that's where I've landed. I will try. I went from I am not going to touch Marathon to, okay, they've made a lot of active efforts in a very short period of time. And it went from a game I thought would never see the light of day to a game that's kind of ameliorated all of those concerns to one extent or another. And the public sentiment seems to be in a spot where it's like, okay, can I join in the forgiveness? Should I? Or is this going to end up biting me again? Because I think plagiarism is a very serious accusation, especially when you're a big, prominent AAA studio like Bungie. And when you combine that with repeat offenses, that's where it gets messy. It's like, oh, if this is a one-time thing, I'm fine just being like, okay, this is a really bad issue here, but I can forgive you. But when it was like with the Nerf guns and so many different aspects of Destiny 2 have had these issues, that's where it just becomes like, I feel I'm being a little vulnerable going in. But I think the server slam is perfect. It's not full 110% investment. It's enough to dip my toe in the pool, see what's going on here. So that's how I'm approaching Marathon, ultimately. Because I do think the game does look cool, ultimately. It does look cool. So we'll see, and I'd be curious to know what everyone else is thinking, if they're actually going to check out Marathon, because I think I'm going to. I'd be curious what chat's thinking right now. My whole stream just like locked up. Oh, I did miss a super chat. Chris the Killer says, thank you for being the only person in my whole sub list that Live streams during business hours. I finally have somewhere to chill while I work. Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, it works for my schedule too. I know a lot. I don't know if like the stream numbers would be better at nighttime, but like when I'm at nighttime, I want to chill. So I don't want to be on like computers and working and all that stuff. So it's my pleasure. I used to only stream at like 7 o'clock at night, but I prefer being live during the day. That sort of thing. Neo saying he wasn't as interested. I think we're all the same as you, says Menendez. Lawn Man is just not as interested in Marathon. Oh, hold on. Hang on. What do we got here? Another super chat. Delusion Master says drives to work and back are made entertaining with you playing in the background. Even better now with Matty Slop. Appreciate you. Keep it up. Thank you, dude. Thank you for letting me be part of your rides. I'm happy to be a little companion for that sort of stuff. Jim Jam, I usually go live at like 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. That seems to be the time we normally hit. I wouldn't be here if it was late, says Vanilla. Yeah, it's like, I feel like we all want to go do our own thing at nighttime. I don't know. Like, I like watching Maximilian, dude, and he's like live at like 10 at night for me. I don't know where he's located, but he's always live pretty late for me. I know some people like to hang out like for the late night streams and whatnot, but sorry, did I mispronounce your name? Mendez. I'm sorry, I called you Menendez. I had a Call of Duty Black Ops on the mind. I called you Menendez. Sorry, dude. G. Mendez. I think I got your name now. Marathon's meh for me. It's weird. I can't have any interest while I love other Bungie games. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So it seems like a lot of the chat that I'm reading right now is kind of like not all the way in. So I wonder, again, if it's just like the hardcore Bungie faithful that seem to just be in, because I think they know the future of the company lies on it too. Like it's like do or die for them. But yeah, dude, I'm going to be curious to see how this game launches, right? Multi-platform, cross-play, Arc Raider direct competitor. It had some controversy. Now it seems to be at least turning it around. The whole future of the company's dependent on this game. Is that already too much? Very interesting time. Very interesting time. Server slam during RE9 release. True. Best of luck. You're going up against a little bit of Requiem there. So there's that too. Most regular people don't care. They just want an awesome game. That's fair too. Yeah, like that's the other thing is I don't want to get all uptight would be the right word. You know? I pride myself on being a chill person. I don't know if the streams sell that. I don't know if the videos sell that. Definitely not the videos. The videos I'm very like but I'd like to say I'm pretty chill. I like to kind of go with the flow. But also there's times that you just kind of have to like lead a conversation and know you're going to get destroyed for it. Think of a good example of that was like the week Bethesda set the Fallout community on fire between the Fallout Day stream and Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition being awful. But then the Fallout 2 trailer or Season 2 trailer came out and I went, hey, this looks awesome. People were like, how fucking dare you? How dare you say anything positive about them? And I was like, you guys are in for a rude awakening if you think I'm going to bend over like that. When is the retro rebound for Shrek Super Party? I can see a retro rebound happening for Shrek 2. I'll give you that one. David Jaffe doesn't seem to like the new God of War 2D game. A friend of mine said he was watching the stream and Jaffe kept getting upset that they were telling a story, which I could totally see him just being like, oh my God, enough with the dialogue. I love that they just did the game at all. Just doubling down on that Greek era of Kratos, I think is very cool. Want to see an awful game for you to do a video on seeing your reaction to Mind's Eye was so damn funny. Mind's Eye was like I would like to do those more. I used to run a series. You might be interested in it because it's still on the channel. It's called Humanity's Worst Games. I did it while I was in like high school and college, and so definitely I apologize in advance for my fucking language, but yeah, dude, like I used to go and actively look for awful games and play them all, and you can watch all of that happen in real time. Mind's Eye, though, that situation, I like that it kind of happened organically where I just decided I'm not going to review this, but I'm going to review this live and just let the game speak for itself. And so that was like a unique thing where I don't know if that can, like, I can do that all the time, but, you know, just because, games like Mind's Eye were, like I just covered it on Matty Slop. We talked about it on the stream on Tuesday. So mired in controversy from top to bottom. It's fucking crazy, dude. But like going into it, like I remember seeing it in a preview event, and I was there with some of the press and just being like, yeah, I think they need to delay this game. And like, I hope they do, because I think it's got potential. But then when they went forward to launch, there was really not much else for being shown for Mind's Eye. That was where I was like, I have to go like review this live, because I get the feeling if it's like what I saw, this is going to be a little crazy. Will we be seeing more fighting game coverage with Dead or Alive returning? No, I don't know. I'm not like a fighting game expert, so I don't think I offer much interesting commentary on fighting games. I'm very casual with it, I'm still learning like terminology for fighting games. My tie is an insult to my brain. I've actually never started the first mission and thought I actually started the first mission, he said, and thought this is boring. I'm just shooting. It's boring. The mechanics are boring. It's one of the worst games. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. The opening of the game is kind of as uninspired as you can imagine. And you saw in my video, for those who watched my Mind's Eye review, very broken AI too. And they were like legs were stretching when you were shooting them and whatnot. It's crazy. Are there any games that are so bad they're good, like it's funny? I think, at least. Like there's parts that are bad with this game, but for the most part, RE6 is like, because I think some people would throw Dead Space 3 into that camp, but I think Dead Space 3 is legitimately like bad. This has its redeemable fun parts. Leon's campaign is fun. Chris's campaign's fun. I'm going to start Ada's tonight. And I remember Ada's campaign, like I just like, this feels terrible, because she's got that shitty crossbow you got to use. Jake's is all QTEs and running segments, so it's got its moments though. Very, very unapologetically early 2000s game, or early 2010s game. Sorry. What do we got here? Gamer X, thank you for your super chat. I'm almost positive the DLC for The Witcher 3 will be a separate campaign where you play as Ciri. That way people won't feel pressure to replay the game. That's an interesting theory. Ooh, I like that. On your note, though, here, would that just be a standalone game? Does it have to be DLC? That would subvert expectations if it was not like a Witcher 3 expansion, but rather like a standalone for something like related to Ciri. I like this one a lot, dude. Good super chat, good theory. Clamhammer, I'm glad you like Dead Space 3. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so Resident Evil 6. Do I even have Dead Space 3 in my collection? I don't. Okay. Resident Evil 6 and Dead Space 3 sit in this awkward category of like co-op games that you can even throw Resident Evil 5 in there, but Resident Evil 5 is fucking goated. I don't care what y'all say. But you could throw them in this category of games that sort of force co-op in to the right generation, like myself, who I was not an OG Resident Evil fan. My first Resident Evil was 5. I know. So I have like good memories with 6 picking it up with friends because it was just another Xbox Live co-op game. We didn't care how good it was. I just wanted a fun co-op game. I wanted to run. There was nothing better. There was no easier sales pitch. It was always like, look at this game. I'm like, cool. And when my friend went, and it has co-op, it was like a, what? That's the only thing that kind of sucks about us getting away from multiplayer, or from getting deeper into single player, is that we have these two divides. We have like multiplayer games and we have single player games, but the multiplayer games are in this like live service or survival thing. Like it's always crafting with your friends or some sort of shit. Or now we have what's called the friend slop genre, where it's just like stupid things with your friends. I miss co-op campaigns, that stuff was, I know they're actually out there, but I just remember like games like Resident Evil 6 being hyped because it was just a good old co-op story and you could just play it with a friend. I think Syndicate, remember that? EA published that game, Syndicate. There was just some weird co-op games happening during the early 2010s. And I mean, I was there for it. Oh, hang on. I got another one. Here we go. This was another co-op one. War in the North, Lord of the Rings. Anyone? Hello? Oh, man. 3-player co-op. Awkward number. But yeah, just Mass Effect 3 Horde mode. That was a fun one. Like things that got you playing with your friends in fun ways. Like I just feel like we've overly categorized multiplayer games, and maybe it's because we were like discovering things back then a little bit more so. But man, that was good times. Love those co-op campaigns. Army of Two is another one. Good one, David. Yep, Army of Two. Do I have that? I don't have Army of Two in my collection. What is going on? What? Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Good shout, though. Far Cry 5 co-op was solid. Yeah, Far Cry 4 and 5 had solid co-op. You're right. What we got here? Iron Rook again. Thank you, my friend. Attic wants to see an RE game with Ada as the MC. I think it could be awesome if done right. Give her a fairly unique role for the series' anti-hero role. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't really done that yet. You know, you got like a little taste of it with Separate Ways. But I'm very surprised that Ada has not had her own Resident Evil game. Has she? I haven't played like all of the spin-offs or non-numbered entries, whatever you want to call them. So, you know, I like Ada seems like she's primed to be a protagonist at some point. I'd be surprised if she's not in Requiem. It's a Leon story. I feel like Ada always shows up in a Leon story. It's a good theory, though. I would like a Ada-driven Resident Evil game. I'm looking at my Resident Evil collection. Yeah, I got like everything from Revelations 1 and 2. Code Veronica's on the GameCube. I have all the numbered entries from 2 Remake and on. So I have a decent amount of them. But yeah, just no Ada Wong-led game is strange. Maybe she wouldn't thrive. Like, she thrives in, like, the campaigns where you can kind of, like, see her filling in the gaps a little bit. So maybe they don't want her in that, like, main role. She's always up to something. Any game remade by any dev. What's your combo? KOTOR Larian. Why not? I just rather than make KOTOR 3. But hell yeah. James, I am very excited for Crimson Desert. Tomorrow's video will be on Crimson Desert. Which actually, speaking of which, yeah, we've been live for 2 hours. I know this was a slower stream today, guys. I appreciate those of you who made it out here today because, again, I bungled this stream horrendously with my thumbnail fuck up and my timing and everything like that. News wasn't super hot today as well. But we'll can it for now because, like I said, I'm running a little low on energy. And I want to be able to give you guys my 110% for tomorrow's video. So I'm going to go record that now. But I appreciate those of you who wanted to come and hang for some gaming news. So keep your eye out for the video tomorrow. We're going to be talking Crimson Desert. We're going to be talking about that third trailer and kind of diving into the life of Pywell and just the life sim elements they're packing into it and just basing our conversation entirely around that. So for those who want to tune into the next live stream, we will be back Tuesday. Unless something crazy happens, of course, you know, we're always a little impromptu. But we'll be back Tuesday, 3:30 as usual, so look forward to that. That seems to be our good streaming day, so keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, though, ladies and gentlemen, I will talk with you all very shortly. Have a great weekend, of course. Be safe. Take care of your loved ones. If you're celebrating Valentine's Day, make sure you're not caught flat-footed. And with that, take excellent care of yourselves. Thanks.